Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Nintendo, and another day and seemingly another Nintendo lawsuit. This time they've sued Modded Hardware and Reddit Switch Pirates moderator Archbox. So for reference here, Modded Hardware appears to be a website that sells pre-modded Nintendo Switches, and no surprise Nintendo was not happy about that. And additionally, Modded Hardware was known for selling the MigSwitch Nintendo Switch flash card as well as the MigSwitch dumper. So according to the Torrent Freak article, which I will drop a link to in the description below and do recommend checking out, apparently back in March Nintendo reached out to Modded Hardware, and Modded Hardware agreed to stop selling the MigSwitch flash card and the other allegedly unlawful activities. And apparently they didn't. Modded Hardware didn't close shop. Nintendo tried to contact them again, and Nintendo decided to file the lawsuit. Now for Archbox, who is a moderator of Reddit Switch Pirates, it says here, defendant is the operator, overseer, and driving force behind several pirate shops, through which the defendant has offered massive libraries of pirated Nintendo Switch games. The article then says, the pirate shops that Archbox is believed to be involved in include Jack in the Shop, Turtle in the Shop, and Nico Drive, which all shut down following a cease and desist letter Nintendo sent in March. A fourth shop, Libera's Shop, is still operational, presumably on Telegram, allegedly promoting and offering thousands of pirated Nintendo Switch games to the public. Again, all of this information can be found directly in that Torrent Freak article. And they say similar to the Modded Hardware complaint, the alleged damages are not specified, but can theoretically run into the millions of dollars. Now for the MigSwitch, apparently the owners of the MigSwitch have lost access to their domain. They say, although the situation is still not clear, it seems our company has lost ownership of our domain name, www.migswitch.com. First and most important, we are operating as usual. We are shipping our products. All orders are being fulfilled and nothing has changed beside the domain name. So it appears the whole situation with the MigSwitch website is still unclear, and it's temporarily up, they say, at migswitchru.com. I'm very curious to know more details about this one. If you know more, let me know in the comments below. Now, Video Game Esoterica, who's got a lot of copyright and trademark law knowledge, has a new video called Nintendo Sues Flashcard Makers and Asks for Buyer's Info. He spotted something in this lawsuit that may be very important. It says here they're asking for all invoices, purchase orders, shipping confirmations, receipts, and any other documentation reflecting revenue received by defendant, which means they're asking for basically buyer's info. Although I don't know what Nintendo plans on doing with this information, if you are interested in learning more about the whole situation, I'll drop a link to Video Game Esoterica's video in the description below, and feel free to check it out. And speaking about YouTube videos, next up we're talking about Denuvo, and Overlord Gaming has a brand new video called Denuvo Performance Impact, tested before and after DRM was removed. I'll drop a link to this video in the description below. So here's a list of the games that were tested. This is not one or two games. This is a whole bunch. Company of Heroes 3, Immortals of Avium, Borderlands 3, Doom Eternal, Dying Light 2, Lies of P, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Ace Combat 7, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, one of the surprising things to me about this video was the size of the games with Denuvo incorporated. They are a lot larger than the games without Denuvo. Additionally, loading times seem to be greatly impacted. On the left we've got Denuvo and on the right is no Denuvo. It went from 200 seconds down to 54 seconds. On top of that, there also appeared to be significant differences in FPS between Denuvo and no Denuvo. Concerningly here, at least for me, was the minimum FPS. Now, I'm not certain if it's just for a blip in time or if it's for a sustained period of time, but there's a huge difference in the minimum FPS with games with Denuvo and without it. However, at the same time here, when looking at the FPS for specific games, I can see where the whole argument about Denuvo not affecting performance is raised. For example, here's the before and after with Doom Eternal and Denuvo and no Denuvo. So no Denuvo has a lower minimum frame rate, and it also has a lower maximum frame rate. So based on this example alone, I can see the argument of someone saying, hey, Denuvo does not affect performance, even if the average frame rate is higher without Denuvo. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Were you surprised about the differences in loading times? Were you surprised about the differences in file sizes? And were you surprised about anything regarding frame rates? Next up, we're talking about MAME, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, depending on how you want to interpret that. Anyways, MAME just released version 0.267. Now, one of the big things about this release is they've got a brand new Z80 CPU core, and it's big in terms of game preservation. I mean, a few months back, Zlog or Zilog announced that they're killing the Z80, which powered stuff like the ZX Spectrum. If you wanted to learn more about the Z80, I'll drop a link to the Ars Technica article in the description below, and feel free to check it out. With this chip no longer being processed, it's going to be a lot harder for people to source replacement chips and may turn some people towards emulation. And in addition to that, with MAME version 0.267, there's a whole bunch of bugs that were fixed, some brand new working systems, some new working clones, and even more. Moving on, and we're talking about Pretendo, which is a free and open source replacement for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U servers. And Pretendo has some great news. So Pretendo has just released their June progress update. I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. There's some juicy stuff in here. They say here, Super Smash Bros. for Wii U is now officially available for beta testers. The 3DS version is not currently supported, though the controller app should work. Not everything is implemented, however, matchmaking is working as expected. Spectating and sharing do not work, nor has Miiverse integration been tested. Attempting to share anything in-game may cause the game to stop responding. But wait, there's more. Pokemon Generation 6, which is X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, is now officially available for beta testers. Not all features have been implemented. While still early on in development and missing some recent stability fixes, Wonder Trades have been fully implemented, and PSS is in active development. On top of that, Puyo Puyo Tetris is being worked on. And on top of all of that, Dr. Luigi for the Wii U and Dr. Mario Miracle Cure for the 3DS are now officially available for beta testers. Both games feature fully implemented matchmaking and rankings. Pretendo is advancing in leaps and bounds, and I can't wait to see what's next. And speaking about announcements, next up we're talking about Dolphin, which is GameCube and Wii emulation, and today Dolphin unveiled this. Dolphin releases announcement. So the first thing in the announcement is a big one. Dolphin has adopted a rolling release cycle. They say building upon our highly successful beta builds, they will have a release every few months with a progress report launched alongside as a changelog. They also say their new releases can receive hot fixes, so if any issues arise, they can release small updates instead of waiting for a full new release. Dolphin's logo also received a minor revision, so the bottom is the before and the top is the after, and I kind of like the top one a little bit more. Let me know your thoughts about these two in the comments below. They say the new logo was designed with variation in mind and expect to see it in many styles and colors. So moving forward for Dolphin, the version numbers have changed significantly, and I would argue they mean a whole lot more. For example, 2407 means July of 2024. Previously, it was version 5.0-21460. So this is going to be a lot clearer and easier to understand what version you've got. Honestly, I think these changes are completely fitting for Dolphin. It's in a very good spot right now and very stable, and these changes make a lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts about them in the comments below. Moving on, and we're talking about one of my favorite Linux distributions, Linux Mint. And if you like to be on the cutting edge of things, Linux Mint 22 Wilma has just received a beta release. Linux Mint 22 has a whole bunch of improvements. It's built on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. The software manager is supposed to be a whole lot faster. It ships with kernel 6.8, which is a huge jump forward from kernel 5.15, and it also has Cinnamon 6.2. And continuing to talk about Linux stuff and continuing to talk about some of my favorite distributions. Next up, we're talking about EndeavourOS. Whereas Linux Mint is Ubuntu-based, EndeavourOS is Arch-based, and Endeavour also has a brand new release here. So Endeavour is celebrating its 5th anniversary, and one of the biggest pieces of news here is that it's now supporting ARM again. They go on to say they're following the upcoming support for the Snapdragon X Elite for Linux, and when it is there, their goal is to add it to their supported hardware. Also, they're still looking for Mac M1, M2, M3, and ThinkPad, or other major brand owners with ARM architecture who want to collaborate with them. Moving on, and we're talking about Bazzite, and Bazzite OS version 3.5.0 has just dropped. If you've got a flagship gaming handheld and wanted to put Linux on it, Bazzite OS might be worth checking out. As for what's new, they've got Xbox Elite emulation, which has the advantage of extra buttons with no glyphs, proper dual gyro support, a new desktop layout. They fixed controllers breaking after suspending, TDP slider functionality on the Legion Go, ROG Ally, and several INEO handhelds, and per-game profile functionality built in for HHD. Additionally, they've got full Steam Deck OLED support. They've made a whole bunch of fixes, tweaks, and improvements, and even more. I'll drop a link to the full changelog in the description below, and this is a pretty big release. Next up, we're talking about the Nintendo DS, and it appears that 3D Pinball Space Cadet has been ported to the system based on the decompilation project. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to the GitHub in the description below, and feel free to check it out. From my understanding, it only works on the DSi and not the normal DS. Next up is a friendly heads up if you play Mega Man X Dive. It appears that the global version of this game is ending service for July 30th. Like everything I talk about, I'll drop a link to the article in the description below. It appears the servers will cease operations on July 30th. And they say here, with the existence of Mega Man X Dive offline, it appears the efforts to keep the servers online will be ending. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with Shad PS4, and Shad PS4 just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 0.1.0, codenamed Mad Turtle, has just dropped. This is still very early on in development, but they've added a shader recompiler, and they say with this we have a lot of games that now start to work. And they've rewrote a big part of the core. Additionally, they've got a brand new compatibility tracker, and I'll drop a link to this in the description below as well. It'll let you know what games work and what don't, and what issues there are. In my opinion, Shad PS4 is showing a whole ton of potential. It's free, it's open source, and let me know your thoughts about Shad PS4 in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.